Noel's well done. Congratulations, winning another tight one. You had a bit of a bumpy road at the start, but what do you feel got you home in the end? Because it was just such a pressurised last few minutes there, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I thought, they started really well and we were on the back foot a wee bit. In saying that, even in that first quarter, it felt like we were hanging on for dear life, or we were still within cooey. I think we went on to the first break with 3 down, so that in itself is quite an interesting thing, knowing that I felt that we sort of didn't play as well. But that last, I think might have been the last 2 minutes or something, was just sheer determination and grit. I think the ball went back and forth maybe about 3 or 4 times, didn't it?
Yes, it did.
When things needed to happen, we were able to do it. But once again, look, I'm really honest and open about it. There's not much between 1 point, but I'm really glad that we're on the right side of the ledger.
Laura, that's the Ferns' first test win in Australia for 3 years. I mean, it's another little milestone and landmark over what you've achieved over the last 6 months, I imagine.
Yeah, I think it is. We did really look long and hard at ourselves after Test 2. It was pretty hard watching, and it was really heartening to see the effort that was going in terms of what we had talked about. And at times, our execution did find wanting, but I quite enjoyed the mini conversations that we were able to have in real time, and I think it's those small things that actually matter when it gets tight. And I felt like even when it got tight, we looked still quite free in our play, and people still looked like they were enjoying it. And like Noel said, there's no better matchup than playing the number one in the world.
What gives you the confidence when you sort of get into those situations where you drop down by quite a bit, to have that faith in your line and not make wholesale changes, but maybe just make one little tweak, or just trust the 7 that you've got out there?
Yeah, I think that's the key, and probably the understanding of the players, their behaviours. I can pretty much see when it starts to shift. I'm probably a person who really looks to see what their strengths are, and I know when they're under pressure and then a change needs to happen. So it's a fine line, if I'm going to be honest, but so far it's been working really well, and the injection of new blood coming in, they've made the impact straight away and got into business. So I think you can have changes but you've got to be quite smart about it, otherwise it actually has a negative effect, I suppose. But it's a bit of a learning thing, and as I say, I go off my gut.
You look at what Amelia Ann has done since she's come to New Zealand. Why has she thrived in the New Zealand system while she struggled to kind of break through here in Australia?
Look, she has been in the Australian system, and it was quite interesting while we were over in the Worlds that Norma politely reminded me that Nick Cusack had a lot to do with her, and her shooting style is amazing. So I warmly thanked Nick about that, but she's got such a lovely manner about her, and I suppose for her it was also her ability to come home to some respect, and having your feet on the land also makes a difference. But we're really happy with what she's been able to do, and both shooters today were able to put up massive shots under huge pressure, and our percentages were very high.
So there's a lot of very smart athletes in your team, Laura. How do you feel like you can rely on people under pressure? Like, who are the smartest and coolest people?
I don't know. You just know. Obviously, length of time playing with one another. I think, that's a really good question. I think we genuinely enjoy being around each other's company, and I think that always does help, just as a starting point. And man, we've watched a fair bit of tape. So
can you develop smartness as a netballer? Because some people like you, they just seem to be instinctive, but can you make someone smart on the court? Can you coach that? Can you lead that?
Yep, totally. I think so. But sometimes in pressure moments, it comes down to intuition and just knowing. And I think 9 times out of 10, you just got to trust your gut and go with it, and go with intent. And there's no right and wrong in that. If someone goes 100%, I always think.
And Knowles is a very intuitive player and coach. So what would you say? Can you coach smarts?
Yeah, I think there needs to be an understanding or clarity around the strategy. Not only that, your plan A, plan B and plan C if it breaks down. That needs to be clear. And I always think we always talk about connections as well. So it's not only on-court connection, but the connection between human beings. That makes a huge difference, knowing that when someone's down, how do you help somebody pick up? And those, I suppose, those subtleties. So, you know, it's something I think that works well for us. We're very, we're very feely, sort of touchy people. But also, you know, I think on the contrast to that is just drilling them in as well and doing the same stuff, repetition, under huge pressure in training. So, and as Laura said, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But if people give 100%, well, what more can you ask, basically?
I've just got one more. Do you think that some coaches don't recognise that their players are human beings? Do they not relate to people as human beings? Is that a big issue in coaching?
Jeepers. We're just a player. I haven't had that experience.
You're real lucky.
I've been very lucky
with
with
Knowles
coaching,
for ages, but like, do coaches make that mistake where they don't treat their athletes as human beings?
Just through my experience, I feel that all coaches have their own way and their own style, and I don't feel that there's a right or wrong about those styles. It's just how you connect with the athletes and what's required on the day. I've been around some amazing coaches that are very dictatorial, and you don't look at them at all, but somehow they get the job done. So I think, you know, there's no right or wrong way about how you coach, and I think if you think about high performance sport in some respect, you know, in saying that high performance sport, there's no right or wrong way as well. I probably say on high performance sport, it's, you know, we think about the science of it, but in saying that, it's probably more the systems and how you look at people in a different way, I think is the difference or point of difference. So yeah, I've been under some amazing coaches who have their own flavour, and no one's ever the same.
Well, I know World Cup and Con Games are like the two major competitions, and I think probably Maria and yourself are probably the only Kiwis that have played in a Constellation Cup series win. How much would it mean to you guys to go to Perth next week and win this series, to win a 4-match series against the Aussies?
Look, to come out on top would be great, but to speak honestly, what I enjoy about our team is we definitely just live day by day. We had chunked up Constellation Cup because it's been 3 weeks and we've still got a lot to go. And this was our second phase of Con Cup, so we'll head into Perth and allow ourselves to come down and then ramp up again. So it would be massive, and it's an opportunity for us, especially after World Cup. We really do want to send this new age Fern into the future, and have a little bit of dominance on our side. So it's an opportunity. That's what we see it as, a massive opportunity for the girls in black.
Is there any chance, with the rankings, if you win this series, is there any chance?
No, I think we're like out the back door. We're not even close. I think, so there's quite a few. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
I think there's quite a few points in between number 1 and number 2. Yes.
Sorry.
This is the 500th test match for the Silver Ferns. How does it feel to have won such an important match in New Zealand's legacy?
Yeah, it's been quite a few special moments along the way so far, and that was just brought to our attention this morning. So yeah, massive moment, I think, in terms of celebrating the 500th game, but also I think for this moment in time in Constellation Cup, I think Perth will be very excited.
In Australia, we're all very proud of you guys. Like, even though we want to win, we love brilliance. So,
Thank you.
Laura, you're brilliant. Knowles, you're brilliant. And then you've had your teammates like Irene and Liana and Casey and like incredible people. Did you even realize how massive this was? Like, can you understand how important you are and how much people love you in New Zealand and Australia?
You know, the Constellation Cup is massive for us, but it is actually bigger for us. I got asked upstairs in regards to the rivalry, and both myself and Laura have had the opportunity to come over here and experience, why Australians are so good. And out of that, here we are for New Zealand as well. So even though I know that there is a trans-Tasman rivalry, as we call it, I actually see it as an exhibition of fantastic netball. And, the two powerhouses, countries, number one and number two, getting out there and doing our thing. And so I think it's massive with Constellation Cup, but for me it's bigger. I feel, with the players and laws and everything, and us as netball as a sport, these are the games that we want if we want to be able to push ourselves forward amongst everybody else and sport in general. So, the tussle's amazing, the cup's amazing, but at the end, a cup's a cup. But I think the influence that both Australia and New Zealand have over a lot of other people, a lot of young girls, even boys that want to play the game is amazing. And we mentioned it as well, to be able to play in 13,000 crowd, to be the first here, and even at home it was a sellout crowd in Auckland, and it's never been like that forever. So all these milestones make a difference to our sport. And I think really when you drill down, that's really what it's about, and the influence that people have over it. So Perth is going to be a pearler. And we're looking forward to getting out there, and we can all push ourselves out the front again and do what we do. So,
do you think you're having like a particular influence over young girls and women? Tell us about that.
I hope so. I think we feel that if we inspire one person to either stay active or take up our sport of choice, we're doing our jobs. We love what we do, and I think that's really become part of our environment in the Ferns. We want to show people that even when the going gets tough, there's moments of pure enjoyment in there. And there are the moments that you probably don't see on TV, but like you feel it. So I hope we do. I genuinely do hope we do.